So here we have a project on Manchester. Starts off with quite a simple but effective bold title page. Starts off looking at various famous landmarks in Manchester. So here he's got some information and some drawing based on the architectural features of the John Rylands Library. Nice pen and ink drawing there. Then he's going to look at the print works. So he's got some information on the print works. He's got an example of a piece of artwork he's done for the black sheet. Some more watercolor work there. And then he's got some drawing work based on the tram system in Manchester. If we look at his black sheet work, we've got a nice pencil drawing of the tram. We've got a drawing in pen and ink of the John Rylands Library. It's unfinished, but it still looks like a good drawing. And then we have this particularly detailed watercolor painting of the print works and the shop surrounding it. So some strong initial prep work there. If we look at his artist research work, he's looked at a local artist called Rob Poynton, who paints around the Manchester area. Does paint further afield too, in places like Venice and London, but he's got some information on Rob Poynton, plenty of examples of his work. A couple of pages on the various different types of work he does and his style. We've got an analysis of how Poynton works, colours he uses, etc., and then a more essay type write-up of that analysis. And here we have him trying to copy Rob Poynton's work, and then he's even got the colours he's used, etc., in this palette, which he's stuck down. So now he's trying to look at coming up with a composition for his first piece of development based on the tram, based on this Printworks building. He's put in an extra element of the figure in and the traffic lights. Then he's got another piece of development which is in watercolor, although he's still doing the figure in acrylic there, but he's got step-by-step pictures of his watercolor piece. The watercolor piece looks more successful than the acrylic piece. So now if we look at his development on the black sheet, again you can see a couple of acrylic pieces on the bottom and then the watercolor piece of the tram station on the top, which is his second piece of development, but to me looks like a much stronger piece. So if we go back to his sketchbook and look at his development ideas for his final piece, we see a tram picture. So he's sticking to watercolor because he's better at it. We see an example of a tree painting. And then we have, this is his final piece. And then obviously we have his development of his final piece and his step-by-step picture. It's quite a comprehensive piece of work there. And finally, if we have a look at the work on the wall for the exhibition, we see this lovely framed final piece, great composition, great watercolor skills, a very strong piece of work to end with. So this project, although it's got some weak areas with the acrylic work, he's found his technique and his best material in the watercolor work, which is definitely a step up. And this is a good example of a project which is good enough to just knock on the door of that level 9, especially because of the quality of the final piece and that watercolor piece of development work.